Welcome, everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It's Lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 195 is entitled Support. This week at the table, we will be discussing the emotional need of support. This is not encouraging someone, it is actually helping someone. How can you recognize this need? What happens when we don't meet this need? How can you help someone who has this need? We'll be talking about this tonight, so pull up a seat at the table and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or watch us live or later at youtube.com/lunchtime in Rome. Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, it would be great if you would take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it would be great if you gave us a 5-star review. Jay, what specifically is this podcast about?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That is how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 or 20 minutes of the show, and then we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is Lunchtime in Rome. And with us tonight is Duke, sitting in for Eric, who is on tech.
Hello.
And Amy, who is sitting in for Chris, who is not here.
Correct.
Amy Raymond, I should say.
Hello. Yeah, you got to distinguish between what? You got to distinguish
Just go
between
closer,
the Amy
that's all.
and the Amy's.
Yes. Can't throw a midget without hitting an Amy around these parts.
Oh,
Who would want to?
but it's nice to have you guys again sitting at the table with us. And it's like, I love the fact that we're not like, you're not guests. You know
Nope.
what I mean?
Oh, thanks.
You're just here.
I
Part of
did
the
just I
table.
did just walk in. I knocked and then kept going. Like that was a big step. I didn't wait for someone to let me
Right.
in. That was a good
This is
feeling.
4 for you? 5?
Yeah,
4.
four.
We don't have jackets.
Do I get no punch?
We don't have
What about a punch
jackets.
card? Can I get a punch card?
get a punch
Can I get a
card.
punch card?
What do you
Free
get
cookie.
when you punch 10?
I don't. Oh, let's find out. I know 6 more. I can do it. I can do it. I have stamina. I can do it.
And Duke, this is 3?
Yeah.
4? 3.
Are we tied?
3 or 4? I
That's
don't know. I think it's 3.
sure.
I think it's 3.
3.5.
3.5. So what's up with Duke?
Not much. Lydia's been kind of up and down lately with the pregnancy. We're expecting our second, and she's been dealing with a lot of nausea lately. She went through a really rough period, and then she started to get a little better, and then got like way worse and had to go on medication again. And she was able to come on the last podcast. She was feeling good that day, but. Yeah, she's got her good days and her bad days. So, and then lately, our sewer backed up in our basement. So that's on top of all that. Have to deal with that. So
That doesn't calm nausea.
no. Luckily she doesn't spend a whole lot of time like in the bit the majority of her time is upstairs. And so
Who discovered that? Who went
that was
downstairs?
me.
Oh, good for you.
I was. What's
Did
this?
you call? Did you call somebody?
I usually do. I'm going to try to fix this one myself. I bought like a special tool for it. It's kind of on the cheaper side, so it may not work. And I've got another like backup that's a little bit more expensive.
Did you get a snake? Like an
Yeah.
industrial snake?
It's a snake. It's a little handheld thing that you like hook up a drill to. I don't know if it'll work. If it doesn't work, I've got something else. I bought 2 different things. The handheld little cheap thing is coming sooner, and then the more expensive thing is coming later. And whatever works, you know, like if the cheap one works, then I'll just return the other more expensive thing, and then. But if not, then
Here's hoping.
Do you have a lot of
Yeah.
do you have a lot of trees around your house?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it works. You should probably be prepared to.
Around like immediately around my house, or like
Within the vicinity. I mean, the roots go so deep.
No,
And-
really, your backyard isn't tree filled. You should be all right there. It'd be. I mean, it's a. I would say
like
his sewer
behind my
line-
backyard is nothing but trees, but
Right, but I mean,
okay.
he's 75 feet to where that would happen.
Okay.
Okay.
But we know a company for you to not call if that comes to that. I don't know if we've talked about
Is that right? No.
Yeah, I don't want to say it out loud, but it rhymes with police.
Oh, I have heard.
I do have a person
Really,
that
I
will come
truly
out
have.
for you.
I've had people come out before because this is a reoccurring thing. and we know that there's an issue with the pipe, like where it goes to the street, where there's a little bit of a dip in the concrete in our basement, like where the
So it's
pipe
kind of
runs.
just sits in there.
Right. So like if you want to fix it long term, you're gonna have to like dig up that concrete and
Real
fix the
easy.
piping. Yeah.
So
right. Yeah. So
How often recurring? Like every couple years?
every like 4 to 6 months, something
Oh.
like that. Yeah. It sucks and it's really expensive to have somebody come out. So I'm like, well, for the same cost, I could probably just buy my own tool and hopefully I can get away with a $30 tool. Probably not. And we'll probably have to go with a
let's think
$250 tool.
positive.
Murphy would tell you no.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Murphy and his law. Not a fan. Not
Well,
a fan.
we'll find out. So,
It's exciting, but it's also scary.
yep, for sure.
But yeah, what if it actually works?
That'd be
great.
amazing.
That'll be such a victory moment.
It would because like it's not like we're getting rid of it anytime soon. You know, the recurring thing, it'll just happen. And
Right.
But if I'm able to fix it for an upfront cost of $30 versus like a recurring cost of $200 to $300, then hey, I'll take that.
If you ever need a
Would that live with
smaller
homeowners though? Could that be a homeowner?
homeowner's insurance covers nothing.
They don't do anything.
I tried.
Thank
Won't,
you.
won't fail.
Yeah, if you need a cheaper snake, I broke one of Eric's. So
Roger that. All right.
yeah,
So what I'm hearing is do not let Jay borrow this. When he says, "Hey, when you're done with that, Duke,"
never let me
No,
borrow a
thank you.
tool. That's on you. That is. But what you could borrow from me is some mushroom cream sauce. I'm not very good experienced at making sauces per se. And I was like, you know what? I want to make a mushroom cream sauce. So I made one the other day, looked it up, and here's how good it was. I thought it was good.
Really?
wow.
Not gonna lie to you.
On what did you serve said sauce?
On a really crappy tomahawk ribeye from Sam's Club. And that's why I wanted to make the cream sauce
To
because I
dress it up.
knew it's a really expensive cut of meat because it's the big tomahawk and it's like, and I'd actually cut the bone off, which was no small feat, so that I could
did you break
sous
the knife
vide
you
it.
used?
I used a saw.
Did you
I
break
did.
the saw?
No.
Okay.
Oh, good point. It was mine.
Oh, well then it was.
Yeah, I
okay.
only break
So
every
it was
other
safe.
one of my tools. I always break borrowed tools.
He used the
Got it.
remnants of Eric's broken snake.
Yeah, it was incredible. But and I got a general recipe just for proportions. But like it's like use white wine. I'm like, well, I have an open bottle of Chianti, so I'm going to use Chianti, and it was delicious. And so much so, I just made it again.
Wow.
I was pretty excited about that.
That's great.
Nice.
For you, man.
Yeah,
Mushrooms and
I just recently started liking mushrooms, actually.
you said liking. I heard licking. I just started licking mushrooms.
The ones out in the
Tonight's pod-
yard. The ones
in the grocery store. People look at me a little funny there.
sometimes I put those ones back for other people to lick.
Sometimes they end up in my
There's a
cart.
big picture of me on front of all these. Have you seen this man? Don't let him in.
Have you seen his top?
He's licking mushrooms.
They
Sounds like a
used to
band.
say,
I'm going to
"Don't-
see the Licking Mushrooms
licking
tonight. Where are you
mushrooms.
going?
That's
Licking
not bad.
Mushrooms.
Yeah,
They used to say, "Don't squeeze the Charmin."
they did.
They really though. We could go down that rabbit hole for a little bit. I'm at
Because that
Sam's,
seems like a real big problem.
squeezing the Charmin. Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, once again, the 70s or whenever that came out, like if you watch any TV shows outside of maybe MASH, I mean, All in the Family was trend setting in many ways, but like The Love Boat was the #1 show in America. I dare you to watch a full episode. It can't be done. It's
Schmaltz to the nth degree. And
well, I mean, Doc and Gopher are hitting on the people the women as they come onto the boat. Like they're in uniform, and or the guy gets in an argument with his wife, and he's a 60-year-old businessman, and so he goes and sits on the other side of the ship, and a 25-year-old gorgeous woman starts flirting with him, and then she's throwing herself all over him. And the big funny part is he's like, "Oh, I wasn't doing anything." Like that doesn't happen, Anyhow,
I'm just nodding my head
The Love
like
Boat
I'm
is
not
not-
a
not
26-year-old Zoomer. Like
did you even ever heard of Love Boat?
I've heard the name. I have no idea.
dare you to watch
If
the
I
show.
if I watched like an episode of it, I wouldn't be able to tell you like what it was. Like if I saw it like
Yeah,
on TV,
oh.
Yes, you wouldn't say, "Oh, that's Love Boat."
Oh.
I don't understand any of these references.
Sing the theme song. That was, I can remember watching that.
Love boat.
Welcome. I remember watching that at my grandma's house.
Yep.
It was Golden Girls and The Love Boat.
And then?
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island.
Dipplane.
Welcome
Oh,
to
that's-
Fantasy Island. Sorry, Duke.
But my point is, who
So
sat
lost.
in a boardroom and said, "All right, we need a commercial for our toilet paper. All right, what about a store clerk who says, 'Don't squeeze the Charmin,' because they can't help but squeeze it."
Is that any better than
Great idea.
the bears that go to the bathroom and never have pants on and continuously
That's
talk
also
about
Charmin,
It
I
is,
believe.
yes. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. Is that any better? It's
So
like
Charmin
Those- I
Market.
don't
enjoy
like
the
those
go.
bears.
Like,
I don't
what
like
is
those
that?
bears.
They're weird. And
They are.
talk,
It is
they
weird.
talk about their butts.
Yeah.
And you don't have pants.
But yes, I
Podcast
don't know.
takes a turn.
The world's changed quite a bit.
No.
Yes, it has. Mm-hmm. So that's my
Mushroom
opinion.
cream sauce. Now I'm hungry.
I didn't even bring you any.
I didn't. I didn't bring anything either. I'm very sorry. Strike 2 on the podcast. One more and I'm out. That's what you don't. Maybe I don't make it to 10 if I don't start bringing treats.
No, we just take away a visit.
Oh, so now I'm back down to 3. Now we're tied. Yay, Duke, we have something in common. All right. Yeah. I didn't have mushroom and steak tonight, but Mark did make egg roll in a bowl, which was quite delicious.
Egg roll in a bowl.
It rhymes.
It
What
does.
is
I
that?
know. It's deconstructed egg roll. So
Egg roll
it's
in a bowl, Brian. You idiot.
yeah, it's an egg roll in a bowl. It
It'd be
is.
so great if that's all it was.
Or she's like, it's actually meatloaf.
Right, exactly. It's a mushroom.
call it egg
steak,
roll in a bowl.
mushroom cream sauce covered steak. No, it's jasmine rice, and then it's
Oh.
a mixture of ground pork and angel hair coleslaw and a little bit of soy and maybe
Angel hair coleslaw?
super fine shredded cabbage. But like,
Do you have to
super
make it,
fine.
or do you
No,
buy it?
buy it in a bag at Aldi, right
You
next to the
idiot.
mushrooms that have been licked. Yeah, it's delicious. And I opened the door from the garage into the basement, and I smelled it, and I was like, "This is amazing." And then I walked upstairs. And
So,
saw it was
there's
made.
no wrapper of any type.
Correct. Nothing. Just the rice and the meat and the coleslaw. And there's probably some Mark's listening and repeating. Oh, green onions, ginger. It's really quite delicious.
It's funny because I now make for Bella, who really likes Chinese food, but she also just likes pasta. And one night, doesn't matter, long story short, I now make her Asian pasta, which is so funny because it's with regular spaghetti noodles.
Is it like a chow mein, kind of like?
It ends up being as
yeah.
such, but I add a bunch of like garlic chili paste and soy
Yeah,
sauce
yeah.
and ginger and everything else
Yeah.
and scallions and whatnot.
Sounds delicious.
Well, that sounds like a delicious dinner for you too.
It was. Well, it was just he's eating now probably
Ah.
because we were ships in the night. I was coming, he was going, and then same thing coming here. I was pulling.
And that's
out
why
of the
he was at
driveway.
Aldi earlier.
He was in between shuttling Alyssa to dance class and ran over to Aldi. I don't know what he was getting, but hopefully not mushrooms. Dead
Duke
horse.
doesn't go
Dead
there.
horse beaten.
Yeah.
My bad. Put that one down.
Well, that's funny because that's like the old premise of like the third guy in or the third joke never works. So like if somebody says
Oh, it's the
something,
same
then
joke, it's
somebody
just the
else
eighth
says
time.
something. Well, it's 3 ways. If you say something funny, he says something funny, and Brian's like, "Yeah, that happened to me too," and everybody's like, "Uh huh." But like you can call back to something once, but you call back a second time, which is a net third time, doesn't work. Rules of comedy.
If you have to explain the joke, Jay, then it dies.
Really?
Exactly.
If there's that much analytical brain power behind a joke, I'm out.
There used to be this
base humor here.
There used to be a Samuel Adams commercial. The commercial it always cracked me up every time I saw it, and it was like two, junior guys, and then the bosses, and everybody like, oh, I love this beer. This is great. And the next two were like, yeah, this is good. And the third, it works for the third guy. But then the fourth guy is just like, me 4, because the first guy's like, me too, and the second guy's like, me too, and it works. And then the fourth guy's like, me 4.
And it got quiet.
I don't know. Yeah, it got quiet. I don't know.
But Sam Adams still better than Charmin.
Yeah, don't squeeze,
terms-
don't squeeze the Samuel Adams.
No. Better ask Sam that.
Shovel it down your throat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Aggressive.
Beer. So I need bifocals. I realized this earlier this week when I went and had an eye test, and I'm at the point where I need bifocals. So
And how does that impact you?
it does
Emotionally.
not really, especially because it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's just I wish I didn't have eyes that needed bifocals. It's not like, oh, I'm getting old. Oh, this is what happens. I just wish my eyes were better. So it doesn't really impact me emotionally. I do like the fact that we now have progressive lenses that you can't see the line. Can't even see the line, can you, Russ?
Those are your brand new glasses, are they?
These are not. No,
yeah.
I went out today and picked out some glasses, so they're going to be on order. My contacts should be in, but they're not going to be bifocal contacts, so I'm still going to have to probably wear like readers. But my eyes changed a lot over the past year, which is kind of disconcerting. I don't like that fact. But yeah,
I want to join you in that, but I also want you to define that.
define what?
Disconcerting.
Disconcerting?
Well,
The
Disconcerting.
opposite of concerting.
concerting.
It's a little troublesome. It's
No,
a
I
li-
understand that, but I'm saying, why is it disconcerting? Is concerting then a good thing?
I don't know if concerting
I don't-
is.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like being combuberated versus being discombobulated.
Because very often
Discombobulated.
I feel combobulated.
Do you feel?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel whelmed? Do we talk about
Yes, we're
underwhelmed,
whelmed. Sorry.
overwhelmed?
All right.
I'm whelmed. How are you?
We'll take
today?
antonym after
Is concerting
And
antonyms in
Jennings.
Rome.
is concerning what you do when a concert is in motion? Concert.
Concerting.
Concerting.
Well, concerted effort. If
Concerting.
you've said like I've made a concerted effort to be on time.
Ah.
So is
Disconcert.
So you
I need a
you
dictionary.
getting older makes you not want to go to concerts.
It does not.
Disconcerting.
nope.
Oh man,
Big
I'm
leap.
just starting to think about roads from. Anyways,
Gruntled.
gruntled.
Oh, gruntled.
Disgruntled.
Not grundle. That's
Not a grundle.
disgruntled.
What happened to this podcast?
I don't know.
Tonight?
It's devolved.
Let's take it. It's
in
going
very-
off
Had
the rails.
nothing to
Anyway,
do-
what
I had
is
nothing to do with this.
Seriously, Duke, I don't know.
I've been
It's not
staying
like-
out of it.
You have been oddly quiet. I don't even know
I need
you. and I think you're quiet.
bifocals, but I did axe throwing over the week. It would have been great to have like proper vision.
Yeah, the person who you hit in the head thinks the same thing.
Look,
No.
the last time I went axe throwing with my brother-in-law, it was 9 a.m. and we got like pretty well buzzed.
Oh, okay.
Like, so it's okay. Like it's acceptable for you to have blurry vision while you're throwing axes.
They
at once.
encourage
Seems
you
like
to
those
actually-
two
They do,
things
yeah.
should not go together.
You
Me?
would think so.
I
No,
would
but
think.
it's like
They do
chocolate and
encourage
peanut butter. Let me tell you,
Fantastic. That's a delightful surprise.
there's nobody
Not kidding.
downrange while you're throwing, or at least there
Well,
shouldn't
yeah.
be. It's a self-correcting
Ding, ding,
problem.
ding. Right?
Which
You know,
Duke,
somebody only makes that mistake once.
yeah, Duke being a safety conscious, you have to have to take that. It's got to be true.
You got to live sometime, Jay.
Oh, is that's when you just let it go.
Wow.
I live and drink beer or whatever when I throw axes.
That's
that
it,
makes
man.
Go big or
I-
go home.
Can we get that on a bumper sticker? I live and drink beer when I throw axes.
Yeah, that's good. And the guy that was running it talked at me for about 20 minutes about disc golf. So
How much of the 25 minutes were you engaged?
for the first probably 5, because he also had really bad halitosis. Like he needed to drink water or something. Like, dude, like
Was he a close talker also?
He was a close. He came. I'm throwing axes, and he comes up to me and like just walks over to me and like grabs my shoulder, grabs my arm, and I'm like, were you trying to see my tattoo? And he was like, oh, I saw your shirt, but like it was this very much like a beeline.
And you don't know
Like,
this man?
I no, like he was nice enough to give us another set of bays so that like because we had 12 of us. And we only had 2 bays, so it's like, all right, 2 people were throwing axes, the rest. So I went over and asked him. I said, "What would it cost?" He was like, "Oh, it's free." So I mean, there's the
What
trade-off.
shirt were you wearing?
It said "Best Dad by Par," and it had a picture of the disc golf basket on. Oh,
so
I mean, some of the guys here have that. Yeah, so that it was cool, and he was very nice and accommodating, and yeah. It was a really fun time.
Which one did you go
Little
to?
Abby's throwing the axe.
That's awesome.
We went to the one in New Ken, Las Hachas or something like that. My uncle John was trying to throw this. He's this old farmer, and he's trying to throw the axe into the future, like through the boards into the future.
To the next dimension.
Yeah, and like it's like you either do overhead or you do like one-handed from your side. He's taking 2 hands like he's holding a baseball bat and just as hard as he can throwing him at the board.
And it's so wonderfully loud when it doesn't stick. It
Well-
just bounces off.
And he never changed. Like he's one of those people that's never changed in his life about a lot of things, and he's just doing it over and over and over. Never made any adjustments, and it's
amazing.
It was fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's hard at first. It's so hard to like get the form down if you've never done it. Yeah.
It took me about 5 throws, and then I was like, all right,
Okay, all
I got
right.
this.
All right.
Drinking helps that. Drinking helps
right.
that.
I wasn't drinking.
Maybe it doesn't.
There's your problem, right? We figured it out. If you would have been drinking, it would have been 3 tries.
Yeah, I didn't need much support with that though.
Well, that's the thing. Some people can just do it independently, but some people need somebody to come alongside them and help them. And that is the emotional need of support. We have been taking a deep dive into each of the top 10 emotional needs. You can find out what your highest emotional needs are by taking our relational needs questionnaire at lunchtimeinrome.com.
Except if you're at Jay's house. Which
And
you
that
cannot
will
get
not
onto
allow
the
you
site.
to connect in any way, shape, or form to said website. If you clear your cache and your cookies, you will no longer be logged into any website you use on a regular basis and still not be able to get into lunchtimeinrome.com.
It sounds like you've had a problem. Did that happen to you? Or are you just making it up?
No, that's all hypothetical. It was very
Clearly.
disconcerting. The point of the story is you will know what your top 10, top 3, well, whatever, emotional needs are, but also important to know what your needs aren't. What are your lowest emotional needs?
Right.
Because that will help you if you're in a relationship with somebody who has a high need in something you have a low need in, you'll realize, oh, that's why we fight. So we have been taking a deep dive into each of these. Tonight we're going over the emotional need of support. And so it will help you to understand your need if you have a high need of support. But it will also help you to love and to care for. And if it's not necessarily a close person that you must love, it will help you navigate somebody else in your world that, gosh, they're so annoying. Oh, maybe it's because they have a need that you don't have. And we always like to start off by looking at the Oxford definition of the need, and it very rarely matches up. But today it says,
give assistance to, especially financially, enable to function or act. Wow.
Our definition, coming alongside and gently helping with a problem or struggle, providing appropriate assistance.
so they're
I
different.
like ours better,
Yeah.
in case we're voting. If we're not, then forget it.
I wonder why the dictionary went with especially financially.
Yeah, that's
Well, you know how the Brits are.
Well, and I think that kind of speaks to what we're
Give me a penny, sir.
what we've talked about as far as like people just don't know emotional needs. So like, especially financially, like it's just there's no other,
Because I'll agree with financially.
I will agree. Like you do give
Support my
financial
cause.
support my cause.
I support my children.
I support my
family.
my family, my finances,
Or I brought
in
somebody
general.
in
Like,
and
yeah.
I'm supporting, okay, but especially?
Especially
strange.
right. Like that. I don't know why it just jumped out to me. Like why
No, I
did you
agree
go
with
with
you.
financial?
Give assistance to. Fair.
Right.
Financially.
But coming alongside
enable to function or act, like as if you can't,
enable to function or act. Yeah.
like
Medi-
Enable to.
medical
enable to,
support.
right? That feels very like unless I support you, you cannot. That's how I read it.
Yeah. I agree with you and I disagree with them.
Yeah. Screw Oxford.
As it should be.
As if you can't do it if,
Right,
if the
right.
support isn't
Right.
there.
Right.
When in reality, you can do just about anything. Those with the high need support would much rather have some help along the way.
So why do we define? Because what jumps out to me in ours is gently. Why do you say coming alongside gently, and gently helping with a problem or struggle, providing appropriate assistance?
Well, I'll go ahead. Oh, I'll give you 2 reasons why. Number 1, I think because when you do it gently, you're going to step on fewer other emotional needs. You just barge in and take over a project. Well, if that person also has a high need for respect, oh, that's going to be a problem. Somebody has a high need for security. Oh, somebody has a high need for acceptance. Wait, did I do this wrong?
Yeah.
So it's very respectful. The second reason why we wrote that down is because I copied and pasted it from the Center for Relational Care, and that's how
what do they
they
know?
define that. So that would be the second reason.
Oh, yeah.
It could also be
Valid.
if, let's say, you have a high emotional need for support and you ask for it and it's given begrudgingly. It's like it almost doesn't even count.
Oh, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Negates it. Yeah.
Right.
And we'll definitely get to that later on. That, yeah, so it's gently and willingly.
Well, and I think gently also implies a lack of arrogance or maybe a presence
Like
of
a humility.
kind of a I'm not coming at you to support you because you need this.
Oh,
It's
you poor
more
thing.
correct. It's a thoughtfulness that goes into it to say almost like you're asking permission, can I help you? Or I'd like to help you versus I'm going to help you and being arrogant in your ability to do it better or something.
Right.
Well, that causes me to think because when I'm talking
vision.
with couples and say somebody has a need for affection, and very often this comes with somebody like a child or like an adult child and a parent who still demands that their child hug them every time. And you always say if you have to ask for it, if you have to demand it, But what I tell couples is, hey, if they don't know how to meet this need, it's still better if you tell them. But guess what? It impacts you more when you don't.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, I'm sure people would still like the help, but it impacts them more and meets their needs more if you do it in a loving and gently way.
Makes a lot of sense.
So what causes the need?
We're really cracking the code this
support?
week.
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
Seriously, this is.
I
I'm
am
telling you.
waiting
Never
with
heard
bated
these
breath.
reasons before.
Yes, these
What
are.
causes it?
Yep.
Oh, having it met constantly as a child.
Yes.
Flip side, not having it met as a child. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I read your?
No.
No, we're
that
just
was that your
spitballing here.
line?
No. No, and it's the same for all emotional needs. That's why that's the running not so much joke, but observation. Imagine a kid whose mother did everything for him, and then he gets a girlfriend. You think, he's going to expect her to do that? Probably. On the other hand,
And be very surprised if she doesn't.
Yeah. But conversely, imagine the young girl whose mom did everything for him, and then, she gets married and the husband starts doing everything. She's like, no, now it's her time. There's no rhyme or reason, but it's all about how you were raised is sort of what we're trying to get across with this in each and every emotional need.
Yeah. How is it like encouragement? It's very, very similar to encouragement. It's helping someone with a problem or struggle. How is it not like encouragement? It's actually helping them and not verbally believing in them.
They are, I don't know. I don't know if they're the white sheep and the black sheep of the family. I don't know if there's no analogy coming to my mind because they're very similar. They are completely opposite.
Yin and yang.
Yeah. Well, you can't do, it's like transitive property. We did this before. You can support somebody and encourage them, but you can encourage them and not support them. Right? Like everybody's looking at the ceiling. Is the answer on the ceiling? All three of you eyeballs went.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm trying to think of it in like a concrete term. I can encourage you with I can say, Jay,
I believe in you.
I believe in you. You can do it. And then I can
not help me do it.
Correct. Or conversely, I can.
If you come inside and help me do it, are you also encouraging me?
I would like to think yes.
Maybe would be my answer. Because if you come and help me and you say, no way you could have gotten this done without me.
Oh.
Good thing I'm here to help you get done with this. That's not encouraging me.
Not at all.
But it's supporting
It's demoralizing.
me. Right. It's supporting me.
By the way,
Yeah.
Lydia Maley said online they're like yin and yang. So
Oh, well then.
she agrees with me.
Right. I was looking
She
for
supported me in that.
Point, Brian.
Yes.
Did she support me in that? No.
Did you
She
feel
She
supported?
supported my
She
point.
came alongside you and agreed. She bolstered it.
Oh,
The emotional need of bolstering.
you've been bolstered. That's 11.
bolstered.
We
You've
missed
been
that. We
bolstered.
missed that one.
Yahtzee.
But simply for to think of it this way is encouragement is I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
Support is let me help you. Do
So a couple years ago, Chris had some trees fall in his backyard. It would have been encouragement if I said, you know what, Chris, you can cut those freaking
it. You
trees
can back
up.
that out in 2 days.
But the support would be, hey, I'm coming to help you cut the trees.
Dull your blade like 25 times. I can bring the chainsaw that was donated to me.
We went
that
through
we
30
never got
chainsaws.
to start.
30 chainsaws, I believe.
We certainly did.
But like that would be a clear example of I'm helping you cut your trees physically. Or I could tell you that, which would just be encouragement. But in the process, I can do both while I'm there supporting you because I am helping you cut your trees.
And
you're
encouraging you
probably
to do
being
it.
encouraged by me doing it. And I'm going to tell you you're using the chainsaw wrong. Here's how I would encourage you to use it better.
And Chris walks away and pops a Sam Adams that's on his
It's
neck and goes,
ex-
keep going, Brian.
That's
You're
exactly
doing
what he
great."
did. And I said, me for.
And then you squeeze the
Squeeze this.
And then I squeezed the Sherman.
I'm never getting invited back.
Besides chainsaws, other ways we can meet it is just coming alongside somebody and completing any task or problem or struggle. Because again, it's not necessarily just tasks. It can be somebody who has got a relationship issue.
That's ongoing. It's not acute. It's a
Well, I think it could be both.
right. And that's what I'm saying. It's not just an acute moment in time where a tree fell, a chainsaw came, chainsaw got rid of the tree, all done. This is something that could be over an extended period of time, a struggle that's
For sure.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Well, wouldn't that be like counseling or therapy? That would be supporting you over the long term as you're going through something or want to solve a problem.
Right. The therapist is supporting you in life.
Right.
They're joining you, helping you figure out the problem of life.
not enough therapy in the world.
It's also met helping someone organize, strategize, plan out the completion of a project or situation.
Yeah, I think that's a very understood. One might say often
Stood.
misunderstood. Yeah, no,
Sorry.
facet of support in that, somebody may not want you to do it for them or with them,
Yeah.
but help organize in the process. That they can complete a task.
Yeah.
They can't organize a task.
Ethan's running into some great issues this 9 weeks because he missed a decent amount of school over the past week and a half, and he was feeling very overwhelmed. And coming to the end of the period, and so last night Lex, he sat down with Lex, and she just looked at, okay, here's all the things that you have to do, all the tasks, and she started to help him get them out on paper and ordered. And it was like you could see the weight come off of him by being, coming
Right.
alongside him and
Literally
supporting
black and
him,
white,
and being on the computer and writing out a list of things. So that
Yeah,
would be
so she's not doing his homework,
no,
but she's definitely supporting him in getting it done.
yeah,
Here's the question I have. Didn't the 9 weeks end last Friday?
no. I believe they said it ended on next Wednesday.
Oh,
So
so it was just a random
still some
clerical
time
day.
left.
All right.
I don't know.
Lunchtime in Penn Hills. We'll get out of it.
Financially contributing to a project, cause, or person to complete a goal. I mean,
Little head nod to Oxford there, but
yeah, you have you want to start a software, for instance, and you're looking for investors. Those people are going to invest in you, and that will help you have the support that you need to complete that project.
well, I mean, I think about it. Anytime somebody's selling something for, you wouldn't know anything about this, Amy, but
No,
like
this doesn't
Girl
sound familiar
Scouts?
at all.
different sports teams or clubs or activities, they're selling hoagies, they're selling this, they're selling
Right.
that. You're not helping them on the team. You're not teaching them the goal, but you're financially contributing. My move is always to say, what's the profit margin on whatever the item is? Because I don't want your cookies. I don't want your hoagie. I don't want you to have to deliver it to me. So it's
Done the same thing.
$2.50.
I'd like, here's $5. Thank you.
Right.
Donate it to somebody.
Here's
Yeah.
here's $5.
But I also have a hard, fast rule that if you don't tell me what it's for, I don't like to support. I get real aggravated when kids are like, we're selling this. I'm like, for my school. For like,
You mean like when kids are coming around the neighborhood?
Oh, I was going to say like your own kid,
well, no, but that's, and you know,
Well, but you're in marketing.
fundraising.
Fundraising,
But
sorry.
I like to.
That's true. You're literally fundraising. So like,
Literally.
that's got to go double against you're like, listen, kid,
Well, because
you're
it's
never going to make it.
so when you're at the store and you're invited to round up or give a donation or buy one of those icons, to me, I test two things. Number one, does the person who's at the register know what the cause is? Because then it tells me that either their management isn't helping their staff and they don't really care about the program, or that whoever the charity person isn't educating them. Because that was my job with the Heart Association. I would go to stores and I would say, if you're inviting people to participate, here's why. So when someone asks you, where's the money going? You can say, stays local and it does A, B, and C. So when a kid knocks on my door and they're like, we're selling hoagies. I'm like, for what? Well, what's it going for?
It'd be great if he's like, to make money.
Right, exactly. Because I want to buy a drum kit, lady. Like, I don't know. I mean, I usually will say, can I make a donation? To your point, I don't want your hoagie that 17 people touched and whatever. I just want to, here's
I
a
love
donation.
those hoagies.
Years ago. I'm
You're
talking
my prime market then. I'm coming for you.
20
Cross
years ago.
School lines.
25 years ago. I'm in my own conversation.
Okay.
The Penn Hills cheerleaders at a game, no, not that long ago, maybe 16, came up to me and said, hey, do you want to donate to pediatric cancer? Now, this is probably 2000 to 2005, somewhere in there.
Do I?
And I said, pediatric cancer? Nah, they don't need my money. They're doing just fine on their own. And she goes, and she just looked at me and went, do you mean to fight pediatric cancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, joke's on me, huh?
We
Semantics and
we had
Yeah.
another comment from Lydia that Duke will be reading.
Yep. So
Oh, Lydia. Hi, Lydia.
can it also? Oh, thank you, Eric. Can it also be taking something off of someone's plate rather than joining them in a task?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I think that she said that with our situation in mind. She very much considers it an emotional need met if I can do the laundry or if I can clean up the dishes, especially like when she's feeling ill or whatever else. Like that's certainly it definitely meets her emotional need for support if I can completely take something off of her plate that she doesn't need to worry about.
So instead of continuing to let her do the dishes or do the laundry and you come up beside her and go, hey, let me fold those clothes with you, you're just actually taking the whole task and she's not having to spend that energy.
Right.
That's what she's saying.
Because she's got an array of things she's already got to take care of,
Heck yeah,
feeding,
that's
clothing,
support.
changing diapers, and all that type of stuff. If I can take one thing off of her plate, that's also amazing.
Well, and I think inherent in her question is, are you supporting me by just entirely doing it for me? Because
Well,
we
I
talk
think-
about joining.
Right, but it's an awareness, and I think you're joining in the common experience of this is our life right now, and this is where I could be helpful. This is where I could benefit from. So I think that to me is
Yeah, but by definition, I would say you're not, like, say it's folding the laundry. You're not supporting her folding the laundry.
Right.
You're supporting her in life by folding the laundry. Because she's no longer folding the laundry. But I mean, now we're in semantics. But yeah, you're supporting her in getting through pregnancy.
yeah. You're recognizing her need for something. Is it support? Is it something? Is it just to not do something? Maybe that's the recognition is you need one less thing to do.
Right.
How is it
So it's an
not met?
awareness.
I'm sorry. How is it
Okay.
not met? By,
Go. Sorry.
go ahead. You really
You
want
rock,
to.
paper, scissors. Go ahead. Go. Who does it?
I thought you pointed. I'm sorry, out of the corner of my eye. By encouraging them,
Absolutely not. That does not meet that need.
by definition, by demanding that it get done. Ew. I mean, like how obnoxious. Get the laundry done. Like, whoa. Nope.
Well, but think of it from a parent-child perspective, though. A child with a high need for support, you have chores to do, and they're dragging their feet, and they're dragging their feet. So what do? Well, you demand it. Put a consequence on it.
Do your homework. Do your homework. Get it done. I mean, yeah.
I do. There's a good bit of let's go write your words. Let's go get your
In your
laun-
house.
Yeah, let's go put your laundry away. Does that necessarily mean I'm walking up the steps with Alyssa into her room to help her get started on the chore, and then it's an
Gently
encouragement and
redirecting
Yeah.
her
Just
behavior towards completing
get
the
out
task.
of the beanbag. That is not putting away your laundry. To focus on your task. What else? By minimizing the problem or struggle. Yo,
And what kind of poor emotional responding would that be?
poor.
the bad kind.
The don't
The
do
not
it kind.
support kind.
The dis-support.
Disrespect? No, I always got respect.
You're always
But
good.
it's always respect.
You didn't respect me?
He likes Aretha Franklin.
No, it's a combination. It's mostly critical. Remember when
Oh, yeah.
instead of
That
joining
stuff.
somebody in their emotion, we can ignore it. We can give them facts, logic, and reason. We can be selfish and tell them our own story, or we can criticize it. And so it's a little bit of critical. Like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You can get it done. So now they're like, well, I can't get it done, and now I'm a loser.
That was Mr. Kamenjar and Trigg in junior year of high school.
Not that you remember.
It's not that hard. I'm like, well, now I feel even dumber that it's hard for me. Like now I'm just going to put my pencil down and cry and not even finish the test because
Bella had that last year with a teacher who
Bella.
was snarky and everything else. And he would say, this is not that hard. You should know this. And here's the best part.
you should teach it.
He had taught it when she had him for the, algebra 2 or whatever, the 2 years before. And so he's like, you should know this. Well, you idiot didn't teach me well enough in the first place. And now you're demanding that I know it now. And I'm explaining to you, I don't know it. Let me tell you, very often she came home from school feeling alone.
That's a sneaky, hurtful one. I mean, like when we really are breaking it down, that's a very sneaky, hurtful
Especially
one.
as a parent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal. You can, and again, here, double play it. Take minimizing and add in encouragement. It's not that big of a deal. You can be done in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm a great parent.
Yeah.
Well, I think because as a parent, we maybe have lived through that circumstance. So we know now
Yeah.
with hindsight being so great, 2020, no need for bifocals there.
Ah.
We know that too soon.
Hey, you want to go axe throwing?
Yeah, I do. Only if I can have a Sam Adams or 7 at 9 in the morning.
But don't squeeze the Sam Adams.
Don't, absolutely not. But it is interesting because we can look back in hindsight and realize that it really isn't a big deal. But in the moment, and in the scope of their life, when their life is this big, and I'm not trivializing, but let's be honest, like when you're
the
you're
world's
8 years
smaller.
old, your life is
Yeah.
this big. So
Right.
a problem that's this big is most of your life, and
Sure.
that's hard. That's really hard. So, yeah, that's not fun. I may or may not be living that right now. Who knows? To be determined. Okay.
Well, and in my double play, I'll make it a triple play. That it's not that big of a deal. You can do it in 10 minutes, and if you don't, you're grounded. Like, and the thing
You're
is,
making them feel like crap.
it's all three of the first three ways
yeah.
to not join it, to
Right.
not complete the.
Right. Well, and there's a consequence that may or may not meet. Punishment doesn't fit the crime, just out of pure frustration of like, I've asked you 3 times. I should not have to ask you a 4th time, but why am I having to ask you a 4th time? Perhaps it's not your inability to listen, but my inability to communicate effectively.
In that scenario, you know, you're not just telling them that they're not like you're making them feel bad, but now there's a penalty attached to it. You know, like
For their shortcoming.
As if they're not
And-
feeling
and-
bad enough.
right.
Right,
And
right.
like somebody that struggles with guilt, you like if you go to guilt, like how terrible.
And again, that's why this podcast is so important, because there are so many parents who aren't even trying. Like,
Right.
I know so many teachers who call home and parents to say your kid hasn't turned in anything, and the parents don't even call back. So now you've got a parent who's at least trying to parent, and yet they're missing it at every level, including begrudgingly assisting. Okay, fine. Do you know how long I had to work all day? But you want me to help you do like?
Well, while not believing in them too. Like you're like, all right, I'll freaking do this with you because like and implying, well, either
You're not doing it
you're just
properly.
inconveniencing me, or I know that you're not going to be able to do it or do it the way that I want it to be done. So
That's
let
not
me
support.
That's not support.
No. 2 plus
What-
3 is
what is
5,
that?
and so is 4 plus 1.
Yeah.
They're the same, but they're different.
Oh, by completely taking over the problem or struggle leaves them feeling inadequate, not believed in, worthy of helping. So
Yeah, you brought it up yourself. So we want to look at what does it look like in different situations, and support. So like with a spouse, it's assisting in a relationship, in friends, family, problems, stuff like that. So it's not always just like parental or whatever else, but you know, your spouse is having a problem at work. Your spouse is having a problem with their parent or their whatever.
Chris is not here tonight because he's doing this exact thing.
In fact, he is. He
is.
is supporting his wife and helping her with her father.
It can also look like making life decisions with your spouse.
And these are all so tricky because these are all avenues where we can go way off the rails way fast. And again, this you're presupposing, or we are presupposing, that there is the need for support. Because very often, you know, if we're going to be sexually stereotypical, the man is going to be like, all right, here's what you need to do. Well, if your wife does not have a high need for support, you should shut your mouth.
Landmines, aplenty.
Well, even if you go that direction, she's not as necessarily looking for that type of support. You know, the type of the support could be just like, I just want a sounding board. I just want you to listen to me. I simply want you to like validate my feelings, and then we can move forward with that for a second.
And that's such an important point because it is contingent upon the person who needs the support to define what support looks like.
And did we discuss whether or not it's okay to ask that question? So to your
We
point
did
about
not, but we should.
when you mentioned earlier about, you know, if I have to demand a hug, then it does it matter or whatever. And so but I need to articulate, you know, what would make me feel really good is if you gave me a hug and a kiss every time you left the house. Like that would make me feel good. So I'm going to tell you that because I don't expect you to be a mind reader. So in this instance, if you're coming to me and you're venting or just you start talking, can I pause and say, you know, I want to hear you and I want to understand what support might look like, how I can best help if you are looking for that.
I think it's brilliant to do that. I wouldn't stop and do that. I would lead with that.
Well,
Hey,
if they just come at you and start talking, like I picked up the
Right.
phone today, my friend called me, bless her soul. She called me and I was like, hey, she's like, oh my gosh, and just went. And I was like, well, I'm just going to sit and listen. And then I finally said, like, I hear you. And I could tell you stories that you would marvel at the parallels, but now is not the time for that. But please know that I understand you. Like I can understand you more than you think in this moment, but just I'm here and I'm listening and whatever. But I didn't have the chance to say it in the beginning because she just kind of started.
No. For her, the person who needs the support to say in the beginning,
Oh, well, yeah.
it's good to say, here's what I need help with.
Agreed.
I don't
gotcha.
need you
I gotcha.
to pick, you know, which
gotcha.
job I should take. I want you to join me in being overwhelmed for the moment at this big decision I have to make.
College,
Yeah, that would be so nice. Oh, yeah.
right?
That would be nice if that would start a conversation like that.
Yeah,
That'd
but
be
if
cool.
not, on the other side, so you're the wife. The husband says, I need support in making this big life decision about where to go on my disc golf trip this summer. And so the wife goes, well, are you going to do Airbnb or are you going to go here? Are you going to go, what city are you going to go to? Why don't you make a list of? And then, it's okay for the person who needs the support to say, okay, let me stop you right there. I just need you to sit down with me while I do this. So it's okay to lead with telling you what you need, but it's also okay to redirect. Or she could say to me, well, what kind of help do you want? Rather than just boom.
And any of those is much more preferable than not saying something at all. And
Walking
then
away.
just having like it becomes the sitcom where it's like you watch them and it's like just freaking
Say
talk to each other.
something.
And then we wouldn't even have a show, So yeah, I think it needs to be articulated in one way or another. And that's, if you're especially with a spouse, that should be a safe thing for you to be able to do.
Another way to meet a spouse's need of support is through chores, tasks, and projects.
Kind of like what you were just talking
Yeah,
about.
the laundry. Yep.
What does this look like with children? We kind of talked about these.
We sure did.
Chores, homework, life decisions, friends situation.
That's the toughest
Yeah,
because, boy, do you want to fix those.
sure.
Oh, and boy, does it hurt when you can't. There are fewer hurts that I think hurt more than that as a parent. When
You watching your child go through something with a friend
And
that
you-
you
and
can't
they
fix or
get
influence.
cast out, when they get made fun of, when they get excluded. Ugh. I will say this. Bella's 18th birthday party was last Saturday, and there was at least a couple people there that made her unbelievably miserable when she was in 8th grade. And there has been complete restoration
Wow.
in that process. So it's nice to see. There were
That's kinda
others that
neat.
we made birthdays. We make birthday signs. Brian knows this. In our house, it's a tradition back to my grandfather. And there was a couple where I said, like, so-and-so is the worst. Happy birthday. It was one of the people that made her life miserable. But not one of the ones where there's been full. We took the sign down when everybody else came.
That's pretty great.
But yeah, it's the worst when they're hurting and you can't do a dadgum thing about it. And you want to fix it. And you want to give them all the facts, logic, and reason and everything else. Nope.
You just, yeah.
My worst nightmare is like my kid comes home and he's like telling me that he's been bullied. Like how would you like if your kid comes home and he tells you that, like how would you handle that?
How would or how did?
Sure, both.
I mean, Bella was, because of the so-and-so that's the worst, in 8th grade, that so-and-so told another girl that Bella had said something racial about her. And so the girl came up and attacked Bella in the hallway. I mean, fortunately, not punching and everything else, but like knocked her down and everything else. So we went in and we spoke with the principal and the guidance counselor. And then, it worked its way out then. But, we sort of talked about with that, if it were to ever happen again, number one, you walk away. Number two, you defend yourself, to the extreme. And I certainly taught her how to do that. And then, you pray and you build them up as much as you can.
Right. And it'll come out at different times too. I mean, Ethan had a lot of trouble in 5th grade. And so we went into talk to the teachers, and then we went in to talk to the principal, kind of went up the hierarchy and worked with him on his level too. So we as parents kind of went to the authorities, to be able to see what we could do. And then we worked with him, and we're still working with him because he'll still occasionally bring that up because it hurts so bad. What does it look like with friends? Projects, cutting trees, fundraisers, employment type, volunteer things. Tasks, moving, household rides to the airport.
I heard somebody say the other day, a friend will pick you up at the airport or help you move. A good friend will tell you no. They're
To
like,
preserve
"No."
the friendship.
Right. They're just like, no, I'm not
I
gonna
can't
do
be
it."
bought with pizza and beer. I'm not helping you move.
But they said, because like a bad friend will tell you yes, but then be like, oh, I can't make it. I can't, the good friend just says, no, I'm not going to do that. No, it's all right. You're an adult now. You need to go pay a company to do that for you.
Helping them work through relationship situations.
Yeah.
Yep.
All kind of the same.
Yep.
This kind of reminds me of when, what is the expression about when you kind of parrot behavior? So if you feel that you need a high level of support, do you find yourself extending support to others, kind of like hoping it's going to boomerang its way back? Because I find myself doing that. I find myself, if I'm going through a tough time, I will find myself reaching out to people to say like, hey, I hope you have a really great day. Hey, here's a funny quote I read, or here's a motivational poster I saw and thought of you. Or
You give what you desire?
Correct.
You almost are working on stealing it?
not stealing it so much as
Drop an
Oh,
If you expected to have it happen to you, you should have it. You should give it to others.
You should, or you tend to?
I mean, I don't know if it's a should. I have noticed that recently that I tend to
Give what you desire. Oh, for sure. Think about like people that have a high need for affection. I mean, that's the easiest one all the time. We talk about that. You know, the ones hugging everybody all over the place. You know, the person. Yeah. So I would agree wholeheartedly that that's what happens. And the encouraging people that need encouragement, they're going to encourage.
Yeah. Haters gonna hate, encouragers gonna encourage.
Boy, that's a kitchen plaque you need to make.
I'm going to. I'll cross stitch it in between midnight and 3 when I don't sleep. It's cool.
So then, what happens when it's not met? Tasks get started but not completed.
Maybe.
They just get idealized.
Right. Problems don't get solved.
Procrastination is prevalent and common.
And it's one of those things. And Amy, we probably could have gone further in our last segment because we could talk about like coworkers or people in a professional environment that have a high need for support. Because, you know, mine isn't corporate, yours is corporate, but it's different. You know, yours, you're kind of a lone wolf. Yes? No?
Yes and no. Depends
Right.
on the situation, but yeah.
But, you know, when you see somebody who is procrastinating and doesn't get things done on time and everything else, and you're like, well, why? Well, because they may have a high need for support. They also might have a lot of other problems. Lack of confidence and self-worth ensues. You know, imagine going through life, not being able to complete tasks, not being able to do it on your own, always, and not understanding that. Like if you're just like, oh, okay, hey, I need a little somebody to come alongside me. All right.
Right.
But instead, it's terrible.
And being able to, myself and one other girl at the office are verbal processors. Like we need to talk things through. And I do the same thing with Mark. If he's listening, he's laughing because when it comes to making the schedule for soccer, I'll say, I need to do this out loud. So I said, you can sit with me, or if that's going to annoy you, you can leave. But like I'm going to do this out loud. I'm like, okay, we're playing 12 o'clock at this address. This is the team.
So
we're wearing black.
you'll
Like,
narrate yourself.
yes, because and then I like reread it. I'm like, 12 o'clock. Okay, hit send because I know it's going to get blasted out to the team. And it's you know the biggest moment you notice your mistake is as soon as you hit the send button. You're like, no, not 12 a.m., 12 p.m. And
And then you get
So-
10 texts and 10
Exactly.
emails.
You
You know
know
it's
that-
Pam.
you know, you schedule that game for midnight. I did. Be there. Shut up. I'm running out of nice, but I'm a verbal processor, and I will say that I will walk out of my office into the suite, and I'll say, "Okay, ladies, I just need to talk this through." So I'm not like telling anyone in particular, but I just need to say it so that someone else hears it, and then if you hear something like that's goofy, poke a hole in it, and the one girl will turn to me every time. She's like, "Oh my god, I do that too," and I'm like, "Good, thank you." Like at least I'm not a complete nut job, just partial.
How do we steal it when it's not met? Refusing to complete tasks. Wait, how do we steal it when it's not met?
So you have the emotional need of support. Nobody's helping you.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure.
Oh, you take your ball and go home?
Right.
You
Well, I'm
throw
just
a
not going
hissy
to do
fit?
the task. And so
Yeah,
the next time,
I'll
maybe
show
somebody's
you.
going to help me.
Right. Don't overperform and allow others to underperform.
All right. I need you to flesh that out. Don't overperform. Don't do that.
Yeah, so if you, dumbest example ever, when I worked at Old Navy, there was a woman that was my manager, not my future sister-in-law, funny story, but there was a woman who was my manager who would give me a task, and she'd be like, go fold that table of sweaters. And I'd say, okay, and she'd fold one, and then she'd fold another one. I'm like, right, or you were just folding. Go ahead, keep folding. And she'd be like, do you see how to do it? And I'm like, And then I'd fold one. She's like, no. Here, you need to do it like this. And before you knew it, she had like 15 of the 25 sweaters folded. I'm like, what are you doing? So she overperformed because I was not capable of performing. So she continued to let me underperform and not fold the sweaters properly. Instead of teaching me how to do it, she just kept doing it.
That is a good life lesson. But I don't know that that's stealing the need for support.
If
There's
you,
definitely
Would
something
you
there.
say that you have a high need for support?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
I do, but I find myself doing that where I'll just do it. That's where I feel like I'm stealing I'm just going to I'm just going to do it. And then the person who needs support and needs me to help them do it is like, well, why bother? Because she's just going to do it.
And you feel that is stealing it because you're not giving them the. Never mind.
No.
Who is the support being stolen from? The person that you were talking about, or you in that situation?
Like they need support. And so if you just said to them, so you're not giving them support, you're doing it for them instead. So
Right.
then what would they do?
They would just not do the task because I've already done it. So the next time, something is assigned to them, they're going to
We
be
have
like, no,
how is it
forget
not met by completely taking over the problem or struggle
Right.
leaves them feeling inadequate or so I don't know if that's we already
Oh, I failed. Strike 2 on the ball.
no. There's I think I understand what you're saying.
No, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm not. It doesn't necessarily apply in this case. Would be my point. Because if somebody's need is not being met, well, I'm
It's
all
right here.
over
It's
the
right
place.
here.
Right, refusing to complete the task. They're trying to draw attention to the fact that nobody's helping them.
Okay, I see it. Okay, I gotcha. So instead, it's like, no, I'm not going to fold the sweaters because no one's going to help me figure it out.
Yeah, she overhelped.
Yeah.
If nobody's helping, whatever else, then they're just not going to do their task. And again, think of a child, clean your room. Nope, not going to clean the room. Take the garbage out. Doesn't take the garbage out. Refusal to assist in other tasks. So you wouldn't help me here. I'm not doing that. Again, that's more than taking the ball and go home. It's both taking
It's
the
like
balls.
keeping score too.
Very much so.
Tit for tat,
It's yeah.
Yeah, begging, nagging, crying for help. Yeah, that one hits.
How so?
The constant asking, it hits in respect because like you've asked me once, you're saying that I don't have the capability within myself to proactively do this on my own power. So you're asking me again and you're asking me again. So first of all, I should probably do it if you're asking me to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not going to do that. But it's when somebody asks over and over and over, like it gets under my skin more than anything.
But you're flipping it again.
How am I flipping that?
Because say you told Ethan, clean your room. It's not you telling him to clean his room multiple times. It's him saying, would you help me clean the room? And you're like, no, it's yours to do by yourself. Please help me clean the room. It's the person who is not getting support is going to beg, is going to plead, is going to nag.
Oh, okay.
Not the person.
You're taking it from
another
somebody else
perspective.
nagging you to get something done.
Yes, that's what I'm taking it as. Sorry.
But that exposes and highlights how high your need for respect is, and how we were talking before the podcast, how people with a high need for respect, bing, 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 for those of you listening, Duke, Brian, Jay, do not have a high need for support. And we were theorizing how often that is the case. Now, do you have a high need for support? No. Oh, you do?
Wait, support or respect?
I'm asking her about support. We don't have a high need. We have a high need for respect.
I was trying to find
Low
my
need for support.
profile. No, I think I do.
And Eric kind of has the inverse.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like
were talking about
support
that
or reassurance. I
earlier
don't think
today.
reassurance is actually a need, but like it's
That's
Well,
security.
reassurance,
feeling of security.
And acceptance.
That's
You have a high
whole-
need for acceptance.
That's a whole podcast in itself. The security of why yeah.
So my point is, you read into it. Hey, I took
Right.
the opposite direction.
That's interesting though. Yeah.
Lashing out and pointing out others' faults and deficiencies.
Right. So if somebody is not getting the support, they're feeling inadequate and they're feeling like a failure. So then what are they going to do?
Let me make it
So
about
and so.
you.
So and so. So and so.
Yep.
You're a terrible parent, Brian, because you didn't help me with my homework. Not that
And-
your kids would have the guts
Yeah.
to say that,
Yeah.
or an employee. Ho.
Yeah. Or so and so wouldn't make me do this, or so and so would let me.
The last boss didn't make me do this.
So I think of social media when I read this one. Lashing out and pointing out of others' faults and deficiencies. And you see a lot of
Keyboard
those
warriors.
reactions. Yeah, but why would that be support?
No, people lash out for many reasons. In
Well, that's
this
true.
case,
In the case
having been hurt by not having their emotional need of support met, they will point out how people are
inadequate other part.
because they have been left feeling inadequate. I mean, in all cases, it could be you bought a nice brand new car and I saw it on social media, So I lash out saying how wasteful that is because I feel inadequate that I can't buy a really nice car. So
Because no one
it's out of
supported
your,
me to help me get there.
well, yeah, I'm leaving support out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just the inadequacy makes me lash out.
So in that way, that person's trying to get them to the person that they're lashing out at to join them in their hurt. I feel deficient. I feel inadequate. So I'm going to cut you down and bring you down. I hope you feel the same way that I feel now so that you can join me. That's
Right.
kind of crazy.
Well, it's vindictive.
Yeah.
You could probably apply that to all the other different types of emotional needs as well.
Sure.
Like you don't belong to any sort of, let's say you're in high school, you don't belong to any like cliques or groups, and maybe you like make fun of these groups because you secretly want to be a part of that group, but it's like, well, I can't because they won't let me in.
Right.
They must be losers. Then that's how I justify it.
And then wait, Amy should read the next one.
Amy should withdrawal from a relationship. Oh no, overly helping others complete tasks. Sorry. I was like, why am I withdrawing from a relationship? What is that?
Why do you associate that with me?
Mark, we're fine. Overly helping others. Overly helping others complete tasks.
Overly helping others complete tasks.
I do that sometimes. But
Do
think,
you? What
well,
does that mean?
sometimes when kids are real little, it means like, I'm going to tie your shoes. I'm going to zip up your coat because we got to go. We got to get out of the house. We got to go, as opposed to like, you can do it. And my mom and I will sometimes butt heads, not as much anymore. The girls are a little older, but when the girls were little and even pre-Alyssa, so Abby was 4 or 5 and under, Abby would get her shoes and she'd be struggling to tie them. And my mom would say, here, I'll help you. And I'm like, let her do it. Like that's helping her. Helping her is just letting her figure it out. And if it takes her 20 minutes to tie her shoes, we have 19 minutes to get out of the house. So that's going to be a problem, but let her tie her shoes. So, but I do sometimes overly help others complete tasks. And I think it's somewhat of an impatience.
Well, but it's also giving what you desire, like you talked about earlier.
It's also control. I'll admit it. It's
Well,
a
that
little,
goes to security.
I know. It's a little bit of control and yeah.
One thing that Lydia said on the chat, you want support in a certain way. I don't know if this might have been a while ago. I don't know if this was the last point when it's not met or how it's stolen, but you want support in a certain task, but you like the task done in a certain way. If it's not done in a certain way, I get frustrated and jump in. Happens to me.
Oh, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
I think probably the sweater story.
But that's also, I think that goes to expectations, and that goes back to the conversation about when you are starting to talk to somebody and say, can I share this with you because I need somebody who doesn't know the situation to hear me talk it through, and then to just be quiet and listen. So I think it goes back to setting expectations to say, I really need your help painting my the nursery, and then Jay comes over with bright orange paint and he's like, I'm ready to go. And you're like, but actually I want it this color. And so if you set expectations in the beginning and say, I'd really love for you to do the laundry.
Right.
Can you please make sure you separate the whites and the darks? And can you please do the towels by themselves or whatever? So it's providing direction so that the need is met for that individual. Otherwise it's maybe be given begrudgingly.
Well, once again, if you're helping somebody on your terms in your way,
Yeah,
you're
well, that
not
was the
supporting
first-
them.
wherever it is.
You know what I mean? So I almost
Right.
hear a tinge of guilt in Lydia's statement, where you want this, you have to get this task done, but you want to do it your way. Well, if it's your task, you have that right, and you can limit the support that you get because that person also has the right to say, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But for them to come in and just do it their own way, that's not support.
Right.
That's their own respect. That's their own security, their own, appreciation or whatever else they're trying to get from doing the job for you.
And it's an interesting dynamic to observe if that happens. So if I came and painted your nursery bright orange and you didn't want it that way,
Their nursery is bright orange, so you're really offending him. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said you didn't want it that. Maybe you want only one nursery to be bright orange. I don't know. But if you don't want it that way, I think it's interesting to watch the dynamic of, can you articulate that after the fact? Or do you just smile and go, oh, thank you so much. It looks amazing. We're going to paint it over as soon as she walks out of here. Or can you say, wow, I'm so glad you helped. I'm super bummed that it's orange because now I really did want it to be blue and we have to repaint it.
Which is why being open, honest, and vulnerable is one of the 4 key components to any successful relationship.
What?
Crazy.
Withdrawal from a relationship. So you don't get support, and so you just withdraw.
Right. Check out.
Yep.
Guilty.
Which is definitely not Amy and Mark.
We're fine.
See,
I love you, Mark.
egg roll in a bowl.
How
So
can-
delicious. He's sending me the recipe as we're talking. He's like, brown sugar, green onions. He's literally
My man.
texting me.
Yeah.
This one's pretty deep dive.
You want to take this one, Duke?
Sure. How can we meet one's needs for support? The paper says help them, duh.
Pretty much. I mean, join them on their terms. And I would say ask questions and support them. I mean, that's just, it's not, some things aren't hard.
And as we always do with these needs, we're going to end with when we do not receive support, how are we hurt?
Yeah, because hurts go 4 places. They either go to fear, guilt, self-condemnation, or anger. And so how's that manifested when we don't get support? For fear, you just have a growing anxiety that the things won't, that the project won't get done, that things won't get done, that nothing will get, you begin to project it onto other things.
And spiral. Like the laundry's not going to get folded, and that means we're not going to have any clothes, and that means we're going to go to church in smelly clothes, and that means people are going to make fun of us, and then we're not going to have any
take
friends.
our kids, and then we're going to go to jail.
And that's all because of that damn Bright Orange Nursery.
Exactly.
Guilt, feeling like you haven't done enough for others.
Yeah, so I didn't get my need for support because I'm a terrible friend. I've never helped anybody else. I don't communicate clearly. I'm too prideful. I don't ask. It's all my fault. It's all my fault when nobody wants to help me.
Self-condemnation, believing that either one or one's tasks are not worthy of help.
Man,
Oneself, is that
that's
meaning?
so-
Oneself.
Yeah.
or one's task.
Self-condemnation always makes me so sad when I see these things.
You look like you're just baffled by it.
It just makes me sad. Like
Yeah.
that you don't believe that you or what you intend or want is worthy enough for others to help you.
It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, that's fine. It's fine. I'm just not. Doesn't matter. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah,
or I won't do it.
Right.
And it just won't get done.
Well, I mean, it's just because it's not where your hurts go.
It just
To me, it makes perfect sense. Eric's crying over there. He totally gets it.
Eric, bring it on in for a hug. Unless you're not a hug person.
Last one is anger, lashing out at the lack of help, refusal to engage or help others.
Yeah, I know.
Get that martyr kind of thing going on.
So when we do not receive support and you get angry about that, you lash out at the lack of help or refuse to engage or help others.
Yeah, I mean, I think of various moms I know that, they won't ask for help in the kitchen after dinner, but then all of a sudden the dishes get done real loud and cabinets are getting slammed.
I got it.
Yeah.
And there's a really heavy sigh in the
Yeah.
kitchen. And then your friend goes into the kitchen and says, "Mom, can we get dessert?" And then you just hear like the explosion and you're just like, I wouldn't have done that, kid. I don't even know what emotional needs are yet, but that was wrong.
Yeah,
Not wise.
But also with like spouses and stuff like that, like, the one spouse hasn't supported the other spouse in their task. And then that spouse says, "Hey, can you help me?"
So for me, this
There's
is
scorekeeping again.
this is where it kind of goes into both support and respect. It's keeping the house somewhat clean. Like I try to keep the house as clean and orderly as I can, but that's a struggle at times for others. And so
You're not naming names.
it could be
But if I were,
anybody in the world. I mean, I don't lash out, but like I do feel that anger rise, and so that does speak to the need for me to need a bit of support in this little area. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
It's for support and respect.
support and respect. That's what I'm saying.
Ugh.
Like I'm not high on support, but I think we can need support in specific things, even if you're not high on it. And for me, that's one of those areas where like, yeah, come on,
Makes sense.
like you say, Jay, let me introduce you to somebody else,
You
because
left this for somebody else to clean up.
let me introduce you.
Somebody else.
Because like I'll see like Hot Pocket wrappers on the kitchen counter, and it's like the garbage is right there.
oh,
How did you not put that in the garbage? You know what I mean?
But see, this is a great example of what we talked about earlier. This isn't support at all.
You don't think?
No, it's entirely. You don't need help putting
Well,
that.
I mean, times I walk around the house, I'm like, there's so many things that,
Yeah,
But could you do it?
if I took enough time out to do it, and like,
but it's more respect. It's hey,
Oh, it's definitely more respect,
Right, that's
for
what I'm
sure.
saying.
100%
Because you
more
could
respect.
definitely do that task.
oh, I definitely could.
and
Right.
probably
And better than
somewhat,
anybody else in the house.
And somewhat,
Damn it.
somewhat mindlessly too. Like you don't realize that you've just cleaned up the whole
Right.
kitchen and everybody else's mess, not your own.
Oh no, I know it.
But in some cases, Brian just said he likes to keep the house orderly. So I do the same thing. I like to keep things somewhat neat and orderly, but sometimes I'll just do it because I want to get it done and not really think about the fact that I'm annoyed that I'm having to be the one to do it. But I used to stare at the dishes and be like, are these magical dishes? I don't think so.
Hold on to that because I'm going to come right back to it. But the one thing that you just said, I'm losing it. I'll find it. Oh, have you done like with the Hot Pocket wrapper and stuff like that? When you know exactly whose it is, have you done the put it in their bed?
I've done that.
Yeah, I just did that the other day with Bella. And here's the sad part. I don't think she's found it. I put it on her pillow, on like the backside of her pillowcase and whatever. But I did that once with Joe. Pop can, chips, whatever else. Put them all in his pillowcase.
New skill unlocked. I like it.
It's so great.
That's great. Parenting. Follow me for more parenting hacks.
I wish I would have clipped it and we would have shown it. But I saw an Instagram reel and it was so perfect for tonight's podcast. A wife is just overwhelmed and that she's not going to be able to get anything done. And the husband sits down and he goes, honey, it's okay. It's okay. And he goes, come here. I want to show you something. And he takes her into the laundry and he goes, do you see this basket? It's a magic basket. He goes, I put my clothes in it all the time. Because then the next thing you know, it's on the bed and it's folded. And he goes in the kitchen.
How many years did she get for murder?
I don't know. But it was, and he's like, in this table, I leave my plate there every night. And when I come down in the morning, it's gone.
That's it for episode 195. Please make sure to give us a like or follow on social media and visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. Well, there, take our relational needs questionnaire. Thanks for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome.
Bye.
Adios.